morning and welcome to it. This is yet another episode of Chess and Wine. And I am Eddie Bila and we're back at it from the Emalahleni Winter Open. We're so excited that things went so well. My goodness, I'm going to give a quick shout out to the president of Emalahleni Chess Academy, that is Mr. Fortune Makasa, and the secretary of Emalahleni Chess Academy, Mr. Corridon Masina. You guys have done an amazing job pulling this Winter Open, this great event, a spectacle of an event, and making sure that it happens. And obviously everybody gets to enjoy it and experience chess at a higher level. Emalahleni Chess Academy continues to raise the bar. You set the bar, now you're raising it. So whoever's coming after you need to go up and higher and higher. Obviously, if they want to compete, they can still start at the lower level for their own experiences. It's all welcome. It's all very good and warm. But you see now, I'm trying to, move into something that I've been meaning to speak about for a while. We've all been trying to avoid it. It's like the elephant in the room, right? Like it's something that we need to talk about. Yeah, but like, you know, what's funny thing about this, the elephant in the room is that they say that if you're feeling it from the other side, it feels soft. If you're feeling it from the other side, it feels difficult, it feels hard. If you're feeling it from the other side, it's just, yeah, like it's all sorts of different kinds of textures. Or it's so in here, it's so huge, it's so big. You see it, but you can pretend you're not seeing it because it's like the wall in the room and whatever. Yeah, I'm just making up all these sort of crazy things about what it means, what an elephant in the room means. But seriously, it's something so big, so huge that you can't ignore. And that is the issue of Hendrik de Toit and Judy Marie Steenkamp going to Afri-forum and obviously making a YouTube video with Afri-forum and saying all sorts of things about what's happening in chess in South Africa and obviously stating their case. And that's, a lot of people are aware of facts, aware of things that are happening out there, and everything that is happening is available for you to find out for yourself and research. That's why when a lot of people are looking at it, are watching the video, they're thinking, nah, my goodness, Afri-forum should do their own research instead of making themselves look a fool like they're doing right now. I mean, taking this one person's word or two people's word, but obviously one group's wait for it and not doing their own digging. But I'm sure that I'm hopeful that they did afterwards. But anyway, let me just try to come to it. Let me just bring it to you. We've got a bit of a script that we can go through together and it'll just enlighten you, or at least give you something to think about and decide for yourself what do you want to believe, what do you want to go research or some more, what do you want to doubt, what do you choose to doubt? Because there's a whole lot of things that we can be doubting in this. And I'm going all gibberish. But let me just get to it quickly. What are we going to call this episode? An expose of sorts. But we've done something like that in a previous video. But yeah, so the way we need to look at it, the way you need to look at it is obviously go through the video and obviously go back to some of my videos that I've done and the discussions that I've had with other people. If I go back into that in my own mind, I remember and I see that a lot of what Chess South Africa is accusing or Chess, what are you, SASCOC is what they've been accused of doing as well by the provincial leaders, right? So yes, so Chess SA said what the allegations against them are, and then obviously we had to do some fact-finding and look at certain things. So yeah, so what struck the most is this. There are similarities, like I've just said, to the allegations that Chess South Africa is making about the provinces, that the provinces are making against Chess South Africa and what Chess South Africa is saying against SASCOC, right? So yeah, but anyway, but here we go. You will go watch the video. And before anything, let me take this opportunity to present an open invitation to Chess South Africa, the band Chess South Africa, because we don't have Chess South Africa right now, the one that has been suspended by SASCOC, Judy Marie Steenkamp, Hendrik de Toit, or any leader in the provinces that feels like they have anything to say, to add, to challenge from whatever that I'll be saying. So obviously you're getting the right of reply, right? So this is extended to you. I'll be happy to present your statement. I'll be able to present anything that you have to say here. And obviously we can just let the facts out in the open for everyone. Even your side of the story, if you have a side of the story that is better than this or better than what is going to be presented here in forth. this is some serious issues. So now let's get to it. First off, we look at the question of Hendrik de Toit's involvement. It's something that they speak about in the video with Afri-forum. They asked that question. So how do they get involved with chess? How? All right, let's look at it from here on. Their involvement in chess, how it started and why they're still doing it. So we know obviously that there's some criticism from their opponents that say they're doing it for the money, right? But obviously we'll look at it later on in the video and address some of that money issue that they're raising. We're looking at it here. They also address it in the video. So yeah, the question that was first put to them, to Toit and Steenkamp in the interview, was how they got involved in chess. They explained that their involvement started more or less in 2005 when Steenkamp's son was in grade 1. They explained that it started by just helping out at chess tournaments. And the reason they got involved was because of their kids. So we get that part of them being involved because of their kids, right? And some fact checking was done. However, because this deals with children, the children of Steenkamp and de Toit, we shall not go into their names. They are not the subject of the matter. Also, I'm not 100% sure of the facts here, but if I got anything wrong, I count on you. I would love to be corrected. So please do so. Do correct in the comments, or do correct via email. Details are down there. So what I did was that I got the names and the identities of their now adult children, no longer kids, they're grown up. We got all that from Facebook. And we then went to the Chesser and Feeder databases and looked up their player profile. Something that you can do as well. You can check them out. You know their surnames, so already everything else is supposed to be easy. You can even find their names. They've got pictures with their parents and social media. So easy, man, these days. So what I did find was that Toit has never played any rated chess game, but has a rating. Okay, how do you get a chess rating or a feeder rating without playing a rated feeder or chess event? We don't know. Same here again with Steenkamp. Steenkamp has never played any rated chess game, but also has a rating. That's interesting. It's something to go look into. So none of their sons ever played a rated feeder tournament. None of their sons have ever played a rated feeder event. So yeah, only one son of Toit has played a tournament of a total of 5 rated tournaments since Toit and Steenkamp got elected in Chess South Africa. But those were national events, like their parents' SHACCC events, such type of events. So Toit, who has never played a rated game, is higher rated also than his son. And I remember one day I looked at a video and I said, oh, Mahomula has a rating and Toit has a rating. Which one of them is higher rated and so forth? So we know that Toit has a feeder rating. We've seen it. You can go look at it as well. You know the name, right? So yeah. So I can understand that they got involved because of their kids. You can too. However, I don't understand why they remained involved if they're not players. Because most parents, obviously, when their kids leave, they also decide, like we've had an issue of Tanzania, which was addressed a while back again in the video, where parents said, I'm no longer available, my child is no longer a chess player, thank you. Well, yeah. Well, later in the interview, they do address that. So let's look at it then. We'll look at it as they address it, obviously. Yeah. So the state of chess in South Africa. That's the second part. We're going to look at that part now. The state of chess in South Africa. Suspension and elections. Bear with me. So the second question that was put to them was to give their opinions regarding the suspension of Chess South Africa. I believe that this question goes hand in hand with the question that is asked later in the interview. If you've seen the Afri-forum interview, go to 43 minutes, 50 seconds or so. That's, it's when they are talking about the current state of chess in South Africa. And Toit tells us that the simple situation is that there is a syndicate. I almost laughed when I heard that. There is a syndicate established by or with the help of SASCOC that is trying to take over chess for their own purposes. And that this purpose is money. It's so funny because later on he says that there is no money in chess. Or he says it's money for them, but it's not money for me. Obviously, yeah. So later in the interview, Toit tells us that Chess South Africa, the sport, is suspended by SASCOC, and that SASCOC is now trying to remove the democratically elected board and replace it with another board. He says that the Chess South Africa Constitution and the SASCOC Constitution do not allow this. Well, he says that Saskok should be doing what Saskok should be doing is working with the sport to get its house in order. Now, this is so funny. I'm going to read this again for you. Yes, he says that that Chess SA's constitution and the Saskok constitution do not allow, obviously, for this suspension. Well, he says that Saskok should be doing what Saskok should be doing is working with the sport to get its house in order. That is, the superiors working with the ones at the bottom, helping them get their house in order before suspending them. It's so funny. This was where I started to see the pattern here. So I remember in my interviews with some of the presidents, right? They also complained that Chess South Africa suspended them and that Chess South Africa did not give any support or help them in any way to get them in good standing. So what Hendrik couldn't do, or Hendrik and Steenkamp couldn't do, they expect that their superiors should be able to do what they couldn't do for their provinces. It's so funny. So the provinces say that the current Chess South Africa board is not democratically elected. They allege that the board have not, that they allege that there have not been any proper elections for Chess South Africa since 2018, and that the current board consists of only two people, and that is Toit and Steenkamp, who had been elected. Chess South Africa seems to have to make similar allegations, obviously, against the provinces. They say that the elections of the provincial boards are just a couple of friends electing one another into the provincial board. That's so interesting because I know that you are aware of this because we've covered this part where we said that the only people in Chess South Africa that have been democratically elected that are remaining are Judy Marie Steenkamp and Hendrik de Toit. Everyone else was co-opted, and they decided to jump ship when they realized that the ship is sinking, or when they saw that whatever the direction it was taking was not somewhere that they wanted or they were willing to go with it, and they left it. We've seen a letter from Dr. Omar Esau as well, resigning and saying, I'm not with whatever it is that you're doing right now. So now the only two people remaining are, yes. But then also we've seen allegations by Hendrik's refusal to address or respect the provincial leaders because he says they were not democratically elected. And obviously he claims somewhere that they are friends electing friends and obviously getting one another in places. So yeah, there's no mutual respect. But what I do know and what is publicly available is this. There are no syndicates or competing boards that are challenging any of the provincial boards. I don't know. I don't know of anyone challenging the Western Cape board. I don't know of anyone challenging the KZN board. I think they're democratically elected. We've seen that. I don't know anyone challenging Gauteng. Any other province, you name it. Eastern Cape said that they haven't had elections yet, but they've had sittings from the regions appointing an acting, or what do you call this? An interim board. So they have an interim board that is busy running things. Mpumalanga, yes, no one is arguing that there's anything here. So there's no board in Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga is the one province that you can claim does not exist on paper. But still, again, trying to get their house in order. Not with the help of Chess South Africa, because obviously they were not willing to help. So yeah, that's what I know. So yeah, the legitimacy of the Chess South African board is being challenged by the provinces. So about 7 of them, all in good standing, are challenging that legitimacy. Saskok is also challenging this legitimacy. And FIDE is challenging the legitimacy. But who's challenging the legitimacy of the other provincial board, the provinces? I don't know of anyone. Do you know of anyone challenging the legitimacy of any provincial executive, any provincial board? We don't know. So for now, we know that there are no minutes of any meeting or any documentary proof available to the public showing that there have been any elections for Chess South Africa since 2018. How many years? 5. Yes, so obviously that is 5 years in terms of the Chess South African Constitution. There should be a proper election every second year. So now 5 years, boom, gone, boom, gone. Now we're here, right? And it's a funny thing. It's interesting that the Chess South African Constitution, the Chess South African Constitution says that there must be an elections every odd numbered year, right? There's elections of presidents of the chess should happen every odd numbered years. There's election of the president, but they're not just electing the president, they're electing the whole board, right? That's according to clause 19.6.6, as according to my script. So yeah, 2023 is therefore an election year. And on the other hand, most of the provinces have or are in the process of having new elections. So that means it's a good time for what? For elections to happen. So we should be having elections, right? I believe that the only way to solve this issue, you do too, as how we have elections. That's what we want. That's what Hendrik wants. He says at some point in the video. That's what the provinces want. That there must be elections. We have elections. And they've got a reverse delegate who was obviously appointed by FIDE to facilitate that. So that we can have elections. Why not have elections and get this thing sorted? Because, I mean, if you have elections, then the whole matter will be resolved. Let's have elections. But yeah, that's a funny thing. So yeah, what we found very alarming was that toit said later in the interview that he also wants to have he wants us to have elections. But obviously, if you go back to the video and you listen at 54 minutes and 14 seconds up to 55 minutes and 4 seconds, and then what he says at 56 and 55, 56 minutes and 55 seconds. You see now these notes that we have. It says if you want to hear the full context, you can go back to 47 minutes and 22 seconds. But the question was put to him. toit said that all they want is a democratic election in accordance with the Chess SA constitution as soon as possible. He goes on to say now that SASCOC has suspended Chess SA. They are doing exactly what Chess SA asked them to do. Okay, that doesn't even make sense. So, however, at minute 56, 55, he says that they intend to stop this process from happening. Yeah. So this obviously, it leaves you confused. It leaves me confused. So the confusion here is whether he wants the elections to happen or not. Or as the provinces say, he wants elections on his own terms, where only the people who are willing to vote for him come to vote. So yes, he wants elections, but he also wants to dictate who comes. Again, on to the issues of the 4 nights. Personal interest and money. There's a whole lot. We've spoken about 4 nights. We've spoken about leaders not attending meetings. We've spoken about personal interests. And we've spoken of this money issue as the most sensitive one. Let's get to it. Now I'm going to go it according to the script, so that you also get the clear picture. toit was asked at 6 minutes and 2 seconds in the video why he believed that this syndicate would want to take over chess. He responded that the perception is that there is a lot of money in chess that is to be made with obviously Chess South Africa. He tells us that there is no money for administrators because it is a voluntary position, but because a lot of money flows through the sport, there is a lot of opportunity for corruption. He told us that it is not profitable for him to do this because he is a highly qualified IT specialist. And the time he spends on chess is actually a loss for him. So he loses money with every hour, every minute that he spends in chess. And yet he continues. Good Samaritan, sacrificing so much for us. So yeah, later in the interview, that is at 1 minute. Like if you just, we want to refer you to that video. Right? We go to 31 minutes, 47 seconds. He is asked about the 4 nights agreement. toit tells us that the problem that Chess South Africa was facing after the 2014 World Youth that was held in Durban, I believe, that they owed a lot of money. So he tells us that at that point in time, he and Steenkamp were part of the structure, or part of the structures, and were on the board of Tshwane Chess, and that they had a non-profit, which is they still have, called Tshwane Chess NPC. Notice this. Because you notice this. So they were part of the executive of Tshwane Chess, and they later created a non-profit called Tshwane Chess NPC. So they had money in Tshwane Chess NPC, and Steenkamp told toit they should loan the money to Chess South Africa to obviously pay off its loan. to feed it. The loan that the monies that they owed to feed it. Chess South Africa owed money to feed it. So Chess South Africa then signed an agreement with the Four Knights. Du Toit states that he was not part of the signing of the agreement or the company, but he was part of the raising of the money, and he got some investors in. That's an interesting thing. He says he has no vested interest from a monetary point of view. Neither he nor Steenkamp has ever shared in the profits. They only get a stipend. I guess that depends on how much the stipend is, right? Now, honestly, if you're a highly qualified IT person who feels like they're losing money from chess and doing things that are related to chess, but you would accept a stipend, even though you're not going to take profits, that means the stipend would really need to be a very good stipend to keep you. But anyway, so yeah, the provinces say this is not completely true. They say that the sports administration is what he does for a living. So he's been accused of doing sport administration for a living because he's not doing anything IT related. He claims that he's an IT specialist and obviously he works at IT and he makes a lot of money from it. So the allegations are, as was presented to him in the interview, that he is doing this completely for personal gain. The allegations are that even the non-profits and other companies are used for personal gain. So what else would you be doing it if not for yourself? I don't know. For your kids are no longer there. So yeah, again, for the sport, you're not a player in the sport. So you're not a parent in the sport, you're not a chess player. So you're just an administrator who's selflessly sacrificing their time, as valuable as it is. So yeah, so again, we had to marvel in the similarities here. So both sides suggest, if not allege, some corruption. So Du Toit said that tournament prize monies were paid out of the boot of a car, or money has been going through the wrong accounts in the provinces, and obviously the province presidents who were making similar allegations about him. I remember speaking to the president of KZN Chess because he made that accusation about KZN, and he explained how it happened. If you didn't get it, go back to the interview with Lindo Guhle, the president of France. So it's a conversation with Lindo Guhle with Mr. Lindo Guhle Ngubane, president of KZN Chess. Go to that conversation with Lindo Guhle Ngubane, and you'll have that issue about money being paid out of the boot being addressed. It made sense to me. I don't know if it will make sense to you, but again, I'm not pulling you or pushing you to either side or away from from either side. So yeah, let us fact check for the things ourselves. Go fact checking. So some fact checking shows us the following. Ourselves. Go fact checking. So some fact checking shows us the following. What does Du Toit do for a living? Normally, you find a LinkedIn account, you go to LinkedIn and you search for a person. So we went back to Facebook, who describes himself in Facebook as a director at Bright Urge Business Solutions. That's his Facebook account, right? However, it seems that this business has no social media page. Like any other company would have a social media page. If it's an IT company, especially, you would find it's strange again. I mean, you wouldn't expect that an IT company would not be available on Google. Yeah? An IT company would not have a website. What kind of IT business would not have a website? So yeah, didn't get any web page. Found it strange, obviously, for an IT business. But then again, if you go to B2B Hint, you'll get a link which I can put up for you, unless you can search for yourself, which is very interesting. So it took me a while. It took me back to a page that gave more information on the business. I saw that Du Toit was the director, but to my surprise, it said that the business was inactive. All right. There's nothing wrong with the business being active. I'm sure a lot of people are running businesses that are inactive according to CIPC. But obviously, if you're a proper administrator and your business is running, you would want to make sure that all the documents are submitted to keep it active even on the system, right? Well, again, if you are to be trusted and entrusted with an organization as big as Chess South Africa, you need to be able to handle your own personal businesses. But then now, if he claims that he's doing his own businesses and they are IT businesses, and then we researched the companies and we found that they appear inactive, I don't know. So yeah, so if you go on and then you click on toit, which was listed as a director, him as a director, things get very interesting. Seriously, go to b2bhint.com. So yeah, and obviously you get to the company that the person says he's a part of, and you click on their name, they'll show you all the companies that he's involved with. So there was a long list of companies that Duto was listed as a member of, either as a member or either as a director. So half of this company reflected as inactive, but not one showed him as an active in any company doing any IT services. Wow. So looking at the other companies, it seems that he has been more into pools, property, and chess than IT. So if he claims to be an IT specialist, I don't know, maybe he studied IT. Again, maybe it's some digging that needs to be done. But it doesn't appear that he's doing any IT business, which we could fear that our precious chess is taking him away from. Anyway, so yeah, we did find a company, Twane Chess, registered in 2012, which reflects Dutoit as the director. Twane Chess as a company. I know you know Twane Chess as the district, the Gauteng, as part of the Gauteng Chess district. And it's interesting that now there's a company that is named Twane Chess after that. And it was done when Hendrik Dutoit became the president of Twane Chess. So this is the company that in 2014 had enough money in it to loan 2.1 million to Chess South Africa. So Twane Chess, the company, loaned 2.1 million rand to Chess South Africa. What did they make money? How did they make the money? In your like, how do you think they made the money? The 2.1 million that they had to loan Chess South Africa. Think about it. You think you're playing tournaments hosted by Twane Chess, the region, but in fact, you're playing tournaments hosted by Twane Chess, the company. Yo, I think I'm spilling too many beans here. Yo, so in contrast with this, it seems that 4 Nights Pty was only registered in August 2015. You can check it again. There's a link at b2bhint.com/en/company /ZAR/4 Nights international events company. 4 Nights International Company, registered K2015285160. This is public information. I am disclosing it. So when Dutoit says that at the time in 2014 he was not involved in the signing of the agreement or the 4 Nights, he's correct. But not only because 4 Nights was not yet registered. In fact, he's correct only because the company was not registered yet. So no one was involved with the company as yet. So you can't say, the company was there and I was not a part of it. No, the company was not there. But maybe still there was some talk that it is 4 Nights that is loaning you the money. Then they went and they registered 4 Nights afterwards. So yeah. So when he talks of the investors, the only investor we know of is Twane Chess non-profit company, Twane Chess NPC. The same PTY he and Steenkamp were directors of. That is why he says, Judy came to me and said, why don't we loan the money to Chess South Africa? We are never told about the identity of any other investors. Even though, like, rumor mill has it that there was this one person, I think, who was it? This is Gluckman or somebody, who was also a shareholder and decided to leave of the 4 Nights. And there was this other, who else is it? But again, they can come and speak for themselves. I don't remember the other person who also had a stake in 4 Nights, but decided to leave the company recently and leaving the 2 to themselves. So initially there were 4 of them. So there were Nights, the 2 fell out. Now there's only the 2 that had enough money, or the 2 from the Twane Chess NPC. So yeah. More digging has shown that there's a PTY. This is so interesting. This is so serious. We found that there is a PTY, a company named Chess South Africa, Chess SA, registered in June 2014. And again, Dutoit and Steenkamp were the directors. Like I said, look at the pattern. They become president and they part of the executive of Twane Chess. They register a company called Twane Chess. along with the Tournament Chess Federation. They become presidents of Chess South Africa, and obviously part of the executive of Chess South Africa, and they register a company called Chess SA. So next time you have to make a payment to Chess SA, I don't know what you're going to do, but check the banking details or whatever. Because you would think that you're paying money into Chess South Africa, and then you find out that you're actually paying Chess South Africa, the company. And they're fine. You gave them the money. They didn't steal the money from you. So they can still, just so, wow. Because I remember again, Lindo Guhle Ngubane, the president of KZN, when we were speaking in the conversation with him in the interview, he says, I paid 6,000 rand for affiliate for the what's this there's monies that obviously the regions, the provinces pay every year affiliation to Chess South Africa. And he was surprised to find that the invoice said paid to SHACC, but he was paying to Chess South Africa. And obviously give him an FNB bank account that is for the SHACC. So it's so interesting. It's so funny. So yes, so now they've got a company registered that is called Chess South Africa. How do people do that? Hey, maybe that's the same thing involved, because I saw somewhere that South Africa as well is also a company registered somewhere. So I found the names of the companies very unfortunate, especially in the light of the allegations that everyone is making. So toit said that some tournament was run under the auspices of the provincial structures, but that the proceeds were received into the accounts of third parties. Now we see that there are companies with the same name as some chess structures, and that a lot of money is raised for those companies. It does not look good. I mean, honestly, it doesn't. So the timing of the registration of this company is also something that is very unfortunate. Like if you look at it, like, okay, the moment they become the members of the executive, then they take over by actually going and registering. Wow. A company out under the same name of the structure. So another thing I found disturbing was that the 3 new PTYs were created at the beginning of this year. So there's 3 new PTYs companies registered Property Limited or Property Unlimited, registered at the beginning of the year 2023. So more specifically, after January, when the provinces were suspended by Chess South Africa, I knew there was something cooking there. And before the South African Junior Chess closed championships was announced. So these PTYs are the Queen's Market, Real-Time Events, and okay. So they are the Queen's Market, Real-Time Events and Tournaments, and the third one is called Junior Chess Championships. These people are slick. So yeah, so I think it is safe to say that these companies will be doing chess-related work. So what exactly? We can only speculate. Like, we don't know what exactly they'll be doing. However, I think it is best that we do not speculate, especially with all the allegations that are flying around and also the history of other unfortunately named PTYs. So what we do know is that the banking details for the payments of the SHACC have changed. That is the SHACCC, they're closed. You're no longer paying the same account. Like, go back and look at it if you've been part of the region. Look at the account details. Find out why they changed. Last year in 2022, payments were made into an FNB bank account in Barrow, Cape Town. And this year it was paid into an FNB bank account with a different account number. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Maybe, but I'm not, honestly. Yes. And obviously my script writers believe that I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I believe in conspiracy theories. But yes, let's just put it this way. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. So I am going to believe that it's just a coincidence that the account numbers changed and there are new PTYs in the background. Like, it's so funny. It's like, we're trying to make you sound, look stupid. But why would they change though? So anyway, if there's something we'll hear, people will respond. I don't know anything. Like, we are just saying what is there for you to go dig for yourself. I don't know. So it does not look bad, but maybe we should leave that for the authorities to investigate. I know we once instigated for authorities to investigate on some issues, and they did, and we were so happy with the results. So yeah, hopefully there's some investigation that will happen right now as well. So if it's true, it'll be very bad. So I think I should just leave it at that. Like saying, so the next aspect that Toit was at pains to say is that they do not share in the profits of the 4 nights. He said they only get a stipend. My goodness. I mean, 25,000 rand could be a stipend. 50,000 rand a month could be a stipend. 100,000 rands even could be a stipend, depending on how much the company is making. Who decides how much the stipend is? They decide how much the stipend is. So if they're only getting a stipend, but they're not getting profit shares, they just label it as stipend. Maybe they should show us the papers. So he said they only get a stipend, right? So I'm going to say it does not make it better. This means that they're getting paid, right? They're getting paid if they're getting a stipend. They're not truly voluntary, because voluntary people are not getting. Again, if you're a voluntary worker and you're getting a stipend and it's you who decides how much the stipend is, again. So what's even is that they get a fixed stipend. Then they get paid even if there is no profit. So this seems that even when the SAJCCC was not held due to COVID, they would have been entitled to payment from the 4 nights. That is not what voluntary means. And I also find it very disappointing that they decline to tell us how big or how small the stipend or this payment is. Personally, I understand that running a sport code may be a lot of work and it takes some time. It takes some time, right? However, I think that if it was this truly a small amount and we were told, then maybe a lot of this conflicts would just go away. Like if they were making just 3,000 rands a month, we'll be like, goodness, we understand. They are sacrificing so much. Good citizens of South Africa. They should insure with, what's that insurance company? I remember that advert. ORG. He gave us a lot. He even gave us his name. So they are giving us their time. Good citizens, sacrificing so much. So at this stage of the interview, we're going on. Yeah. Steenkamp mentioned how difficult it is to run this tournament and how they tried but could not because of the costs. What have they tried? She mentioned that the venues are not free. Venues are not free. I'm taken back somewhere. You probably also are taken back somewhere. So listen to this part. I was immediately reminded of the interview I had with the organizers of the Sparkling Waters tournament. That's something about a week ago. If it did not remind you of that, then I don't know. You haven't been listening. So Mr. Lincoln September mentioned that, we don't pay for venues for our events, and we make good relationships with event owners, with event venues. And he mentioned somewhere. So if you have not watched that video, stop and go back to it. Firstly, that was a big feeder rated tournament with massive prize money. It was a really well attended, and the venue was free, and it was beautiful. And when I was talking to the organizers of that tournament, they also mentioned that for the last 2 years, the venue for SAJCC was free. They said that they were able to be part of parents organizing for the venue for the SAJCC to be free. But was that accounted for something in the costing for attending the SAJCC? Because that means SAJCC had to be cheaper for the past 2 years when the venue was free. So that really put the statements made by Steenkamp in a different light. Go back to the video and listen to it. Obviously, it all put it in a different light for you. Secondly, and this was just my impression, we should listen to the difference in the focus of these 2 videos. Like you go back to the video with what's his name, Mr. Lincoln September, and then if you look at the Afri-forum video, I could not help finding that the focus of the General Chess is the players, and the focus of Chess South Africa is their enemies. But anyways, honestly, we know that these are completely different people, and we're not trying to keep one another. But what we do try to point out is something we should also be aware of. Lincoln September and his administrators, I'm sure, they're chess players. And these guys, I don't know, they are chess entrepreneurs. Not that there is anything wrong with being a chess entrepreneur, but again, I don't know, man. There are chess business people. I can't. We really can't. Like they. So one's interest is in the players, is in the sport, and the other's interest is in the money, the profits, and they want to run it like a business. I don't know. Okay, let's move on. So fine to the documents. So we get to what Saskok says is the problem. Towards the end of the interview, that is in 47 minutes and 12 seconds or so, du Toit tells us that Chess South Africa requested a meeting with Saskok asking them to help Chess South Africa. He says that it was a strange meeting because it was more of an interrogation. He says that Chess South Africa told Saskok that they did not have audited financial statements because it had not been done since 2017, and that they did not have the source documents, which were in the possessions of the other board. According to him, the end of the meeting was quite strange, as Saskok then told them to send a list of about 9 documents, and the meeting was over. No, here I'm just I like that Hendrik also kind of has a issue with how he's addressed. Because those who have been addressed by him or those who have been in the same room always complain about him treating them like a boss and them, their boys or their girlies or his girls. What do they call this? Girly. The current boys and all of that. Like if you listen to the provincial president and how they say Hendrik treats them whenever they're in the meeting together. That is why he even just leaves the meeting or he removes them from WhatsApp groups at will, because he speaks to them like he's speaking to his kids. I don't even know if he speaks to his kids like that. Maybe he speaks better to his kids, but I can't say he speaks to them like he speaks to his kids. So hey, apparently that's what he does, right? So it's crazy that now he notices that he's not being treated in the way that or in the respect that he believes that he deserves, because now he says Saskok was interrogating them in that meeting, an interrogative approach. Yeah. So on the other hand, we have a copy of the letter that was sent from Saskok to Chess South Africa dated 13 March 2023 and the report on Chess SA dispute, which seems to be slightly different. So the first document was made public by Chess South Africa themselves when they made their suspension public, and the second document is available on the internet. So according to South African Sports Confederation and Olympics Council, Chess South Africa requested the meeting in September before the next Chess South African elections. Saskok noted that Chess South Africa was committed to go for free, fair and inclusive elections. Saskok urged Chess South Africa to complete and submit the required documents to ensure fair and credible elections are held. Du Toit, during the meeting in September, said that it was Chess South Africa's obligation to ensure that their members are in good standing. Chess South Africa was asked if an independent committee would assess the good standing of the provincial members to enable them to vote. It was also agreed that there will be representatives from FIDE, Saskok, and Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to ensure that the elections are credible. Chess South Africa did not submit these documents. They were reminded on the 22nd of September in 2022 to do so, and again on the 12th of October 2022 to do so. No documents were submitted, no elections were held last year. So according to South African school, to Saskok, the non-submission of documents was the reason for the suspension. The same suspension that Chess South Africa wants to challenge now. So looking at all this, I have to wonder, why does Chess South Africa not give any financials to Saskok? I understand that they may have difficulty with what was happening from the interim executive board. But why not give what they have? Because they have been having financial transactions as well for the past few years. I mean, Du Toit and his board were running the SAJCC, the SAJCCC during those years, the South African Junior Chess Championship and the South African Junior Closed Chess Championship. So for those years that they were active, why don't they provide and say, this is what we have? Right? So they were sending teams internationally. Why not give their financials for that? The so-called syndicate that is trying to topple him, they allege that they personally took money from those ventures and that massive markups were placed on international participation. Why not just open the books and prove them wrong, Hendrik? It's easy. Because somebody accuses you of having 1,000 rands in your bank account, you just take out the bank statement and you say, where is it? Somebody accuses you of taking money from places you shouldn't have taken money from. You just take out the bank statement and you say, where did it come from? Prove it. So those records, because if you are accused now of making money from them, you say, we're not making any money. And you know what's the funny thing about Hendrik and Judy? Is that they can go in front of the camera and say, we're not making any money from chess. Chess is very expensive to run. We're doing this and this and that. And then people say, show us that you're not making money. Then troop. All right, so cool. So the other thing is elections, right? So here we have Saskok also saying that Chess South Africa committed itself to free, fair, and inclusive elections, which never happened. It reminds me of Yakuba judgment. Do you remember those court cases? Look at this thing of Yakuba. Remember that of all these court cases from when there was an interim board fighting against the board. So that's where the Mahomula versus toit thing has started. So yeah, remember the Yakuba judgment between the Toit board and the Mahomula board, where the judge also said that all parties committed to an election. So they said, yes, we're all going to go for elections. So that election also did not take place. It seems to me that Chess South Africa will always agree to elections. They are committed to elections as long as they know they will win. Because they've got a company named Chess South Africa, so they want to run the Federation Chess South Africa as if they're running their company. So as long as they stay on the board, they stay on top, it's fine. Wow. So well, now we are facing another court case. It is between Saskok, who together with FIDE is trying to conduct an election in accordance with the Chess South African Constitution. And at least according to them, and on the other hand, Chess South Africa, who wants to have an election but wants to stop this process. So what are they fighting for? What's the beef if they both want elections? Saskok wants elections, Chess South Africa wants elections. But why are they now taking one another to court? FIDE also wants elections. Is it a matter of the terms of the elections? That's what they're fighting. Who should have authority over the elections? Because then whoever has the authority is the one that that can decide who they exclude and who they include. But the funny thing is, or the interesting thing is that we all know that we all need free, fair, and inclusive elections. The chess community needs this. But if we have people taking advantage of us, like this is, honestly, you look at it this way, you look at it. When you are president of Tony Chess, you open a private account, a company. Like seriously, people will now start trying this thing. You're president of Tony Chess, you decide to open a company called Tony Chess, you become the board, you create a bank account for it. Now you're running things. So when people have to deposit money for tournaments to Tony Chess, the account number is no longer the same. It is now the account number for your company. See, for that, you don't have to issue financials every now and then. That's a private company. I don't know what you need to do, but maybe people that run private companies know. But where do your financials go? No member of the public has a right to you, except for people doing business dealings with you, or anyone sponsoring your private company, or your investors. Those are the only people that have an authority or that have a right to your financials. So the other financials they put aside. You become a president of Chess South Africa. You start a company called Chess South Africa. You loan money to Chess South Africa and you gain rights to the SHJCC. Rights to run the SHJCC. And then you run and you register a company called SHJCC for Junior Chess Championships. I don't know. Like, how are you to be trusted? Like, honestly, we need a response from this. We need a response from Hendrik and team. Wow. So much is being said about you. So much is out there. People must go back and watch that video and try not to laugh because, for once, Hendrik seems to be trying to be sincere because he's trying to arm himself with the Afri-forum. But even Afri-forum can come back and give us some reply. If they have anything they want to say, we welcome them. You're welcome, Afri-forum. We want to speak about these things. We want these things to be out in the open. Everybody, the chess community, to feel that this is our issue and we're dealing with it together. I mean, we thought we were done with court cases. But now, boom, you're throwing another court case at us, Hendrik. Where do your loyalties lie? Because we thought you promised. My home will promised no more court cases, and that's why he didn't challenge the last ruling. You promised too, but now you're coming back. Another court case to keep chess in the woods. You don't want to see improvements because your kids don't play chess. Anyway, we're not doing it for kids. We're doing it for the sport. Oh, we do have kids though. We're happy. We have kids that play chess. But anyways, this has been it for me tonight. Whew. I'm going to try and upload some links for those of you interested in seeing all of these things that I've been speaking about. Just click for yourselves and see them. Probably won't label them or just load them. This has been Chess and Wine. Good evening.